snow in 2 years from a single event. And with the cold, the snow didn't go anywhere yesterday. Yes, it was nice and bright and sunny, and you looked outside, and then you went outside, and you're like, whoa, it was cold. And our visible satellite from yesterday actually allows us to see that snow cover. Since there really wasn't much in the way of cloud cover, everything white that you're seeing here is snow cover from the upstate of South Carolina, western North Carolina. Some of this is sleet, but even so, we've got all across North Carolina, a lot of you dealing with snow cover on your, not just your grass, but your driveways are still frozen, your roads are still frozen if they weren't clear and if salt and brine wasn't put down. Now, with those cold temperatures, the commute is still going to be an issue this morning. Raleigh, you're at 10, you just dropped another degree. Atlanta, you're in the 20s. Nashville in the 20s. Jacksonville, 31 degrees. Wind chill is still a factor. Your first wind chill advisory in about 2 years, Jacksonville. So, yes, it's chilly. Pensacola, fountains were freezing yesterday. That's how cold it was. But it's going to warm up. So today is our transition day. Nashville, we finally are going to go above freezing for the first time in about 4 days. In fact, we go right up to 40s today in Nashville, and then we'll just keep that going this week. The pattern's going to change. The dip in the jet stream, that goes away. A ridge takes over as the main weather pattern across really the eastern two-thirds of the country. So this is going to warm us up. Temperatures not just to average, but soaring above average. And in Texas, you might see a couple of record high temperatures this week. Now, in Nashville, we're going to the 60s by Wednesday. Atlanta to 70 degrees by the time Thursday hits. Look at Charleston. Look at Raleigh. I mean, you're 10 degrees right now, but by Thursday, you're going to be in the upper 60s. Yes, the snow will be going away pretty quickly, pretty easily, but it'll take some time. I mean, tomorrow morning, we're still sub-freezing all across North Carolina and into a lot of South Carolina. By Wednesday, everyone's back to above freezing all day long and all night long, too. And by Thursday, you'll have forgotten all about the cold and the ice. In the Northeast, a little harder to forget, Kelly, because, of course, it is winter, and even above average is still chilly.
Oh, it's still fresh on our minds, especially that fresh sun. But it's really cold where you are in the upper Midwest.
Although it's not as cold as it was.
That's true.
So, that's sort of the half glass full kind of way to look at it. We're going to go to the upper Midwest right now with our next winter storm coming in. Iris is heading into places like Duluth, Minnesota. And as we look out over the aerial lift bridge right now, you got to notice that your temperature is not below zero. That's a change. We've been sub-zero for days, right? Every single night. Now we're at 12, so we have warmed up, but of course it's still cold enough to snow. So when the next system comes in, we've got snow. Iris making its way in later today, and a couple of inches all across Minnesota, North Dakota, parts of South Dakota. Duluth, we could get about 3 to 5. And there's going to be a stripe of snow, we think, stretching from Minnesota into Wisconsin, 5 to 8 inches of snow, especially across the northern part of Wisconsin. Here's what it is right now, and we're going to see that snow, that arm of snow, kind of sweep in through the rest of the Midwest today. A lot of moisture coming into this area. You can see really just the overspreading of our flow coming in from the southwest. So the moisture coming on in to the area, a little disturbance punching into at the upper levels. You'll see that dive down into Canada. And so that'll help get things going today. A warm front actually in place will help our temperatures warm up a little bit, although still cold enough to snow to kick things off here in Minnesota, into maybe even Iowa, and certainly into Wisconsin as well. But that's going to also help draw up those southerly winds, draw up moisture from the south. So we've got moisture coming from two places. That's how we're going to get that 5 to 8 inches of snow across northern parts of Wisconsin. And to time it out for you, the morning commute just fine. Lunchtime snow comes in. It may be out of here by the evening commute. We'll see Minneapolis, but then overnight tonight, round 2 comes in. And now we've got that chance for maybe a wintry mix out there. And actually across lower Michigan, we warm up enough that we're going to have round 2 coming in as rain. So Detroit, get ready for a start of snow, but then ending with some rain by tomorrow. All right, let's go south because, Kelly, it was so cold. Dallas had our coldest temperature in, 6 years? And Winter Storm Iris. Lake effect has been helping us out, too, though, with in the snowfall department. All right, so we track what's coming next. We just showed you what was happening in the Midwest with Iris. When it gets into the Northeast, it gets actually a little more complicated. We do have a widespread kind of 3 to 5 inch snowfall across Pennsylvania, New York State. The lake effect will kick into, and that'll add a little more to the Tug Hill Plateau. But wait to see how things play out for us and the way we will get our precipitation. So by tomorrow, as the system starts to track in and actually temperatures start to warm up, look at Chicago in rain, look at Detroit in a wintry mix, changing over to rain. Actually, Cleveland, you'll do the same thing. Wintry mix changing over to rain. Syracuse will start with snow, but then we too are going to change over to wintry mix. It's possible we see sleet. It's possible we see freezing rain changing over to rain after that because temperatures warm up. So State College, Pennsylvania, this is how our forecast works out. Starting as snow, temperatures in the 20s tomorrow. Then overnight, temperatures are still in the upper 20s, but the trend is up by the morning. Actually, you're going to see those temperatures going up. We'll eventually change over to rain, although you'll spend some time in a wintry mix, perhaps freezing rain, which will be tough for travel. Albany, New York, same thing. It's overnight Tuesday that you're going to have a period of time where travel is tough. You know, elevated surfaces that might be at freezing, you'll have to worry about that, but temperatures will start tracking up overnight, and by morning your commute might just be wet, and we're going up to nearly 50 by the time we get into Wednesday. Boston, for us, it's all rain. So next system comes in, no snow for us, just rain, which will be easier for travel.
We do have a lot of snow out there, snow cover.
Phil, 27 to start, but we are finally going above freezing today, something we haven't done in about 4 days. So this is a big deal, Nashville. Our temperatures going to right near average, 43 degrees today, and then after that, we're just going up. We have an upward trend in our temperatures, close to 70 by the end of the week, believe it or not. Hard to imagine when you're 23 degrees right now in Nashville. 10 in Raleigh. It's very chilly all the way down to Florida. 31 in Jacksonville. Was just checking out some of the obs here in the Florida Panhandle because we saw another picture of a frozen fountain in Defuniak Springs, Florida. Crestview, you're 21 degrees right now. Down to Tallahassee, you're in the 30s. It's a little warmer right on the coast, but other than that, very chilly morning. But the afternoon gets better, and each day this week, it gets a little bit better. So, in fact, it gets maybe too warm for some of you if you like the chill. We've got a ridge taking over our jet stream pattern. Temperatures warm up. Temperatures tomorrow go into the 50s in Nashville and Atlanta and Raleigh. We're finally able to thaw out there across central North Carolina, across the Piedmont. 60s in Charleston, Tallahassee, you're in the 60s. And really, our temperatures go up from there. We're going to be near 70, 72 in Montgomery, 66 in Atlanta, and even Raleigh. We'll get to the 60s this week. Hard to believe, right? With the Anaritis, keep watching because we've got a picture for you here. Boston digging out from 7 inches of snow left by Winter Storm Helena. Loving life here in the snow. It happened to fall on a weekend, right? And that was certainly helpful. So we'll talk to Boston Mayor Marty Walsh and see how the city is pretty much regular on the show that season.
Yeah, I felt like I was, you know, it was my Jim and me. We had a good thing going. He was in Boston an awful lot.
Yes. All right, well, so this time round, I know that time, that year in particular, you had a lot of issues with the subway system. Everything stay on schedule with this storm?
Yeah, so everything.
Yes, and so let's take a look at what's happening in the West. These snowfall totals still yet to come. 5 to 6 feet. And this is really high up in elevation because the snow levels are very high, but 5 to 6 feet of snow, I mean, that's what, more than 72 inches. So we've got tremendous amounts of moisture still yet to come. You see that with the snowfall QPF. Right now, snow levels have dropped a little bit down to about 6,000 feet, but they're going to go back up again as our next system comes in. Right now, you can see where we're dealing with some issues. By the way, travelers on 80 around Donner Summit, they've been dealing with that mudslide. They're working on cleaning that up through today, but that's an issue with the fact that the snow levels have gone up and the rain has come down, and that's been causing some issues and some mudslides. So that's where we have the snow right now. The big moisture plume coming and pointing right at Southern California. There's been some lightning actually around the LA area this morning. Don't be surprised if you hear a rumble of thunder down here. It's been happening through the morning, and we've been dealing with this just persistent feed of moisture, this atmospheric river now that has shifted into Southern California. Another system yet to come. We've got this. This is our Tuesday system, and then this low right here. We're going to get pieces of energy that come off and be the next weather maker for the week ahead. So let's watch that and track that. We're going to put this into motion and watch that upper level low up there. You see these pieces of energy kind of spin on off. This gets us into Wednesday and Thursday. One piece breaks off and dives down south as we get a dip in our jet stream. That's this guy right here. I'll give you a different color. This guy right here. So as we track that, this is going to actually help us potentially create some ice across portions of the southern plains, some ice or some sleet. It's going to be a concern for travel at the end of the week. First up, though, the snow still yet to come, spreading in across the Great Basin of Nevada, the Wasatch. We're going to get some additional snowfall again. And, you know, while it's been pretty high in terms of the elevations of where we're going to see the snow, coming down a bit as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, as we get a next round of cold air that drains in here from Canada down into parts of the West, including Colorado. We'll be getting more snow in the mountains, and even the Southwest mountains this time going to really add up to some of the snow amounts. Telluride, one of those resorts that should be a big winner with the snowfall. Then look at Friday. So now we've got the cold air coming down right here, settling in into the central and southern plains. Northern Texas, the Texas Panhandle, into Oklahoma. Temperatures right at the surface down near the freezing mark. And with our next system bringing in the moisture, we're going to be looking at that potential for some freezing rain. The cold air, the depth of the cold air up here is going to be much thicker, so we'll likely have a stripe of snow. But the more shallow that cold air depth becomes, then you get to sleet, and then if it's very shallow, then you get to freezing rain. And so we're going to be concerned about that right into parts of Texas, the Panhandle, northern Texas, right into Oklahoma, into Kansas, into Missouri. Yeah, this is a week out, so this is an early heads up for what could happen, but we want to make sure that you're ready for this because this really could cause some big travel issues. Oklahoma City, again, a week out. Expect this forecast to change, but look at the potential precip type that you could have. Freezing rain potentially on Friday with temperatures that will be in the mid to upper 30s, and then overnight temperatures dropping into the 20s. That's when you run into issues, right? Saturday, temperatures right at or above that freezing mark again. And Kelly, these are some of the toughest forecast events, right? When you know the temperature is just so critical, and you got to look at all the different layers of the atmosphere temperature too.
Exactly.